Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to journey through the female reproductive system, the internal and the external. And that may sound a little bit dry, but it really isn't. Um, I think it's important to know our anatomy, our female anatomy, and the reproductive system. We don't really see it like we watch ourselves in the mirror every day, our face and like the outside of our body. The reproductive system is inside and the external part kind of faces the floor. So many of us don't really have a super or like an intimate, we don't really know much about our female anatomy and this part of our body. For many, it can feel like a separate part, like it's distant. And it's so important to it's an important part of embodying your whole self. Just as I talk about the cycles, to know your cycle as a part of knowing oneself, it's also important to know the structures of the female anatomy, reproductive anatomy, and to have a feel of how that is for you, how that looks like for you, how that feels like for you. So that is what we're going to do today. We're going to kind of journey through it, and I'm going to show you how you can locate certain parts, specifically the uterus and your ovaries. You can kind of feel the area where your ovaries sit and your uterus. And I'm also going to talk about how you and me and everybody can get a closer, have a closer um, relationship with this part of our body. So that we are one whole being. We are not parts. And so that we can feel our whole body. And if you happen to be a man who's watching this, then there will definitely be some learning points for you as well. Yeah, it's important, especially if it's your own body, to know, as I said, the structures, um, what is where the different parts, excuse me, where the different parts are located, and to name them and to feel them and to know them. So that's what we're going to do today. I've made a cute little presentation that I'm going to share. And let's get through it or to it. Yeah, am I sharing now? Oops. Yeah, okay. So this is basically what we're gonna go through. The vulva, which represents the external female reproductive system, and the uterus, actually so much more than the uterus. This is the whole internal reproductive system. And then we're going to take a look at the clitoris, because many people think that this is the clitoris, which it is. It's a part of the clitoris, but it's really much more than just the very tip. So we're going to look at that as well. Yeah. So the vulva is the external part of your reproductive system. And many have this confused and call it the vagina. I have done this myself. And that is not really correct because the vagina is actually a part of the internal reproductive system, and it's the vaginal canal. So that is just, it's an important part, but it's not the whole part of the whole. So the vulva is the common or the name of the parts on the outside that we can see with our eyes if we take a mirror and look. So then we will see, we can start at the top here. Then we have the pubic bone, and then we have the mons pubis, which is the skin, the flesh that sits on top of it. And then as we travel down, we see for some women, you can see this, it's called the glans clitoris. It's the very tip, it's like a little pearl. Yeah, for some women, you can see it straight away. And for some women, it's kind of tucked behind this clitoral hood. So it's like a little shell. And upon arousal, for many, the pearl kind of shows itself. So that can vary from woman to woman. And then we have the inner and the outer lips. And they can vary in shapes and sizes. Some have, yeah, they vary in sizes and shape. And then we have the urethra here, and we have the vaginal opening. And then we have the perineum, which is the flesh between the vaginal opening and the anus, and then we have the anus at the back. So this looks very, it's a textbook picture of the vulva. And what I encourage everyone to do, and what I have been encouraged to do on my training, is to really explore your vulva, really get to know your vulva. And the way you can do this is to take a hand mirror, a little mirror, and you undress. And if you want, you can set some time for yourself to do this and make a pleasant environment, maybe some candles, maybe some calm music, maybe you have some scents that you like, just to make this, like, take this time for yourself. And yeah, take the mirror. So you take it under, of course, or yeah, right in front. And then you notice what you see. And just really notice and just really take in what you see. For some people, we know our vulva very well. For others, we have maybe not paid so much attention to this area of the body. And feelings can come up because we, through programming, have maybe thought of the vulva to look a certain way. And this is really to get to know your unique vulva, because just as we all look different, like our nose, our eyes, our mouth, our face, our bodies are all, if you go wherever you go, we all are unique and we all have different appearance. And that also, of course, pertains to your vulva, your outer exterior of your female reproductive system. And I'm actually going to point to a resource that I'm going to share, which is the vulva, I believe it's called the Vulva Gallery. or is it the labia gallery? One of those two. I will share the resource. And here you can go, you can click the link and you will be referred to a virtual gallery with real life photography of vulvas. So you will have lots of different vulvas in all kinds of shapes and sizes and yeah, all the shapes and sizes. And you can just take a look, like, oh wow, this looks a little bit like what it looks like for me or my vulva, or like this is a little bit oh, like just take it in and just browse through and because again, this is something we don't really see naturally. Um, and yeah, if we have yeah, this is not something that we see, and we may compare to images like this, or for example, if we have like pornography, that's a whole nother story. So that's what I'm like thinking. But yeah, or where else? Or maybe we just have like I don't know, a preference or yeah. It's I think it's healthy to look at different variations, and like I said, some people have the clitoris that you can see directly, some have it tucked under the hood, some have like different shapes and sizes of the inner and outer lips, different colors, and also the appearance of the vulva also changes upon arousal. That is also something that is worth knowing or noting, and I will get back to that. So yeah, I think this is what I wanted to talk about, the vulva. Was there something else? No, I don't think so. I think we're actually gonna do the clitoris next. So the clitoris, you can see here. This is many people call it the tip of the iceberg, because here you see it's the very tip. This is called the shaft. No, sorry, this is called the shaft. This is the hood that I talked about. And so the clitoris, the glans clitoris is the tip, which we can see. So many people think that is the clitoris, which it is. It's a part of it, but it extends inside of our body. So we have two legs, clitoral legs that go down here. And attached to them, we have two vestibular bulbs. And these vestibular bulbs are made of erectile tissue, and they are actually made of the same erectile tissue that is in the male penis. So we, as women, as female embodied people, we also, upon arousal, can get an erection because the bloodstream flows to this erectile tissue and it becomes erectile. So it changes, it becomes harder. And this is something you can actually discover for yourself. So this would be the inner and outer lips. So right next to your inner and outer lips, you have two folds, or like two, you have skin. And this is soft when you're not aroused, but when you are aroused, these vestibular bulbs swell from the inside, and you can feel that they get erect and harder. And also, this also contributes to the vaginal canal and opening. So it's like a flower, really. It's like opening in order to receive and take in. Yeah, so this part of the reproductive system engorges, and it swells in size. It becomes bigger and it opens up. And the clitoris, its function is pleasure. It has a lot of nerve endings and responds to pleasure and arousal. There's actually another source that I'm going to share at the end. It's a little YouTube documentary about the clitoris. It's in French, and it's very cute. It's 3 minutes, and yeah, she will tell you more about the clitoris and its function and the history and research and all of that. So I'm going to share that at the end. So this is the clitoris. This is outside structure, and all of this is at the inside. And here you see the urethra and the vaginal opening. So if we go back here, so the legs would extend here, and the vestibular bulbs are located one here and here underneath the skin. So as I said, you will notice the difference in the texture of your skin there. So it's soft when it gets harder upon arousal, and soft when it's not aroused. I get a little shy. I don't know why, or I do know why, but yeah, sometimes I don't know how to word myself, but it's a practice, so it's all good. Okay, so here it says uterus, which is not 100% correct. I found these. I really like these photos. They're from iStock, so we're gonna go with it. So this is the uterus. And it's not, yeah, anyways, this is the uterus. And so, oops, excuse me. This is the vaginal opening. So this is also the vaginal opening. And then we go in here. This is the vaginal canal. And here we have the cervix, which is like the gatekeeper between the vaginal canal and the uterus. And then we have the cervical canal, and then we have the uterus. This is where the endometrium, the endometrial lining, regenerates itself. It grows and it sheds every month. Unless a pregnancy occurs, then the endometrium stays in place, and an egg, or the fertilized egg, the embryo, will attach to the embryo. If not, the endometrial lining will detach, and that is when we shed and bleed through here, the vaginal opening. So we have the vaginal canal, we have the cervix, cervical canal, and the uterus, and we have the fundus, which is the top. And then we have the fallopian tubes, also called the uterine tubes. And we have the fimbriae, which are the little hands that kind of swipe over the ovary. So many people think that the fimbriae and the ovary are one attached, and the fallopian tube, but really the fimbriae, they kind of scan over the ovary until it picks up the egg that has ovulated and transfers the egg through the fallopian tube. And if there are sperm cells present, they will meet here in the around here in the fallopian tube and fertilize the egg, and then the fertilized egg will travel down the fallopian tube and into the uterus and attach to the lining. And if not, then the egg will travel down, it will disintegrate, the lining will shed, and a period of bleeding will start. So same here, fallopian tube. This is not the ovary, this is the ovary, and this is the fimbriae, it's called, and the ovarian ligament. So this is a beautiful model. It explains very well how the different structures are placed in relation to each other. But again, this is like 2D. It's kind of folded out. And I'm going to show you an even better here, an even better illustration of what I've just been going through. So here, this illustration is just, I really like it. So I can tell you exactly what I told you, and you will see how this is an even better representation of how it really looks like. It's not perfect, because no illustrations really are, but this is very close, and I think it's fascinating to watch. Yeah, so this is what I told you about the clitoris. This is the glans clitoris. It's the little pearl that you see, or that is on the outside. And then the legs, as I told you about. And these are the vestibular bulbs that are underneath the skin that will engorge and become erect upon arousal. And then we have, actually here, we have two little glands that release fluid upon arousal. And then we have the vaginal canal, the vaginal opening, I mean, the entrance of the vagina that goes up here. So if I press this, I feel it like this. This is the vaginal canal. Here, vaginal canal. And here we see the cervix. The cervix is like I said, it's the binding element. It's the gateway between the uterus and the vaginal canal. Cervix actually means the neck, which is very understandable here because it is like a neck of the uterus. So here's the cervix, and here we have the uterus. And here is the bladder. I did not mention the bladder. The bladder sits between or underneath the uterus. And then we have the fallopian tubes. We have the ovary. Oh, we can look at it from here. We have the ovary. These are the fimbriae. And these two strings that you see here, they go from the bladder to the kidneys. So as you can see here, the uterus is not it's not like this as we see on the illustrations. It's more like this. And an important point also to note is that the uterus, in most cases, it is positioned like you see here. In most cases, for most females. But there are also variations where the uterus is positioned in other positions, which I will get back to. So then they would have a more tilt backwards. It wouldn't be so much pointing forward, but more. Yeah, we're gonna go through it one more time. Maybe, yeah, just see how it all combines. Side and from the back. Oops. So, where do we want to go from here? Yeah, I did not mention this. Let's do this. So, now we have kind of an overview of how they're all linked. And we can actually, because, okay, one thing is to look at it in an illustration or a diagram like we just did. Another thing is to really feel into, okay, but where is it placed in my body? How does it feel in my body? So we can actually locate this from the outside. So what we do is that we take our thumbs and our index fingers and we make a triangle like this. And then you place your thumbs on your navel point. So you will have a triangle like this, like you look or like you can see in the photo. And you point the triangle, or this is going to be your navel. And then where your index fingers meet, this is approximately the point of your uterus. So that will, of course, don't bend them up like this because then you will get too far. Like it's more like this. Don't do this. It's more like this. And you put them on your navel point. Place them on your navel point. So your index fingers will meet at the place below the navel and kind of feel into that point. Does it feel like this is somewhere the uterus would be? Do you need to maybe adjust it a little bit? Try to tune in here. And maybe it's like, oh, there. Just feel a little bit around. But it is approximately where your index fingers will meet. That is the place of the location of your uterus. So just sit with that for a little moment. Maybe we haven't really paid attention to this place before. to the location. It's like a new key. Maybe take some deep breaths. Fill the area with fresh breath, fresh oxygen. Maybe you can greet your uterus. Hello. And also maybe you can do a few movements just to feel into the location. What do you feel? What do you sense? And then from there, your pinkies at either side. So your pinkies, these two, at either side, where they land, are approximately where each ovary is situated. So again, here, you will feel into the skin, maybe press a little bit, and just tune into and feel, is this the location? Do I need to point my fingers a little bit up or down or to the side? And just like, again, locating for you. Where is it for you? So this is where your ovaries are. So now you know the placement approximately of your uterus and your ovaries. Just melting that awareness in with everything else you know about your body. You know your legs, you know your abdomen, your stomach, your sits bones. So just kind of placing them in relation to each other. Breathing air, oxygen in. Embodying your reproductive system, your uterus, your ovaries. Breathing into this space. Just take your time here. What do you feel? What do you sense? Maybe placing your hands like flat in your womb area. And then in your own timing, you can open your eyes if you have them closed and come back. So yeah, this slide I made just to point out what I already talked about. So that we are all different. Our anatomy looks different. We are all each and every one of us are unique. And there's something beautiful in getting to know your unique expression of how you are made, of your composition. So I'm gonna show you the vulva gallery. And also, I really recommend using a mirror to really take a look. And you can also, if you would like, to look at different times of the day or different times of your cycle, if you see anything different upon arousal. And also, uh, if you are pregnant or if you have given birth, then changes might occur. Just be curious and see. And be gentle with yourself if emotions come up, and really take care of yourself in that process. Just thinking if there was something else. This slide, I realize I'm a little bit back and forth, but I think that's okay. It's unfolding organically. So this is what I talked about. Here you see, I wish I had it on the side, but the angle was, this is what we saw, basically, that the uterus sits on top of or behind the bladder, like directly on top. This is called an anteverted uterus, and this is the case for, I think it's about like 70-80%. And then you have different variations of that. You have antiflexed, and then you have a uterus at mid position. So that's more like a straight line. So the gap is further. And then you have retroverted, which is about 20% of women. 1 in 5 have that. And that is also called a tilted uterus. It's just that the uterus is in a little different position. So it's tilted a little bit backwards. And you can feel this. You can feel this, or you can ask if you don't know which position your uterus has, then you can, next time you're at the gynecologist, you can ask them if they haven't told you already. And then you have retroflexed. This positions all the way to the back. So I know for retroverted, I think these two are the most common, or this is definitely the most common. And it's also, like I said, different variations. And for some, they might feel or you might feel back pain. But for many, you really won't, or there are no, what's it called? No, like it's just anatomically, it's just positioned a little bit differently. I asked my gynecologist, and she said it's just like with anything else in your body, that some people have bigger lungs, some people have smaller lungs, some have some organs a little bit to the side, or it's perfectly okay. And yeah, uh, with pregnancy and everything, it's the same. But it's good to know. Again, to have an awareness of uh, of your own anatomy and your own structures and how it looks and feels like. And I think this was all. I really like talking about this. Here you have the clitoris, the vaginal canal, the bladder, uterus, fallopian tubes, ovaries, the different vulvas, the clitoris. Yeah, we've gone through it. yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Perhaps you learned something new. Maybe there's something here you can take with you. And these are the sources and inspiration. Um, I will also link them in the description, like the box, and on my blog. So this is the little animated documentary I talked about. It's 3 minutes. Le clitoris. It's in French. And this is the 3D illustration. Labia library, it's called, not the vulva library, labia library. I will also link to this. And these are where the images are from. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you feel called to create an environment for yourself, see if you can find a hand mirror and just see, like, explore and see for yourself, and get to know your vulva and your female reproductive system. Also, another thing is, before I say goodbye, this cervix, it travels up and down throughout your menstrual cycle. So your vaginal canal will feel shorter or longer depending on where you are in your cycle. So the cervix pulls up around ovulation. So it will be, your vaginal canal feels longer. And as you come closer to menstruation, the cervix will kind of move down. And so your vaginal canal will feel shorter. So that is also something you can, if you want to explore throughout your cycle, how your cervix moves. That's a way they use in fertility awareness method to understand how close you are to ovulation, because the cervix moves up and down, and it changes structure. So it's very soft around ovulation and it gets harder around menstruation. So I'm telling this because there are beautiful ways to really get to know yourself. I think this is one of the main reasons why I share this information. I share about the menstrual cycle. It's getting to know yourself, getting to know your body, getting to know your cycle, getting to know your rhythm, and to get into your body. Many of us are understandably so much in our head, and it's like we're separated from the rest, but we are this beautiful tapestry of so many beautiful systems and organs and rhythms, and it's all one all one organism, all one art piece that is you. You are all that. And it's extraordinary. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. And I will be back with another video around this topic. And let me know if there's something you would like to learn more about. If you have any questions, please ask. And I hope you have a beautiful day. See you in the next video.